Yeah, like I said, I want every traditional belt. I've got the English, British, Commonwealth, I want the European, and then the one after that is a world. So, Eddie's the man to deliver them for me. But obviously I need to let these cuts heal. My last 2 fights have been cut, but I hadn't given them enough time to heal. And I knew if I got clashed heads, they would open. So, unfortunately it happened, but I stayed calm, found my distance, and the finish came.
How close are you, do you think, to that big fight at Hillsborough?
Of course, I need the right dancing partner, and I also need to keep building the support like they have. They keep coming out for me. I know it's a little bit bad timing with Wembley at this time, but they're still showing they're coming out to support me. So I need to keep building that, that support, that fan base, and also I need the right dancing partner for the time.
And you've mentioned as well that you weren't able to properly celebrate Wednesday winning at Wembley because you had the fight to prepare for. So what has this sort of last month been like for you? The win tonight, that win as well, and how you celebrate tonight?
To be honest, Dad, it was still a buzz being there at Wembley. But of course, you've been able to have a little drink and make it better. But I'm going to enjoy both nights tonight. Nothing too heavy. I don't really like drinking anyway. But I think I deserve a drink tonight.
Well done, Dalton. Eddie, just how impressed were you with the way that fight?
Yeah, so impressed. And I said to him in the ring, it makes our job so much easier when he produces performance and particularly finishes like that, because that's what people see. That 5 seconds, that one punch knockout, that does huge numbers worldwide. And the special fighters will make special statements when the pressure's on. And I've said this week to a lot of the fighters on the card, but particularly Dalton, you've got to go and do it now. You've got the fan base, you've got the platform, you've got the money, you've got the deal, you've got everything in front of you. Now go and deliver. And when you do, that's when it's really impressive. And he's gone through that level now. We know he's above British level, but now he's proved that. For me, that was kind of a European level fight, but we like the European title as well. We got a dozen fighters at 140 that he could fight, including a few world champions. But like he said, we want to build here. Tonight was a nice crowd, and we were defeated a little bit by the Wembley run that you guys had. But next time we come back, we think we can fill it up against a good opponent and then move on. And I believe that Hillsborough was a real possibility. We did Kelbrook against Errol Spence at Bramall Lane. We filled the place. It was unbelievable, and we'd do exactly the same at Hillsborough with a big name. And that will come, and I believe Dalton Smith will be world champion.
There are certain things that make it tricky to get a fight at Hillsborough. Have you had positive conversations about potentially making that happen in the future?
Yeah, the most difficult thing is always the date. We've seen it with the City Ground with Leewood recently. You have a very small window, and sometimes it's hard to make the right fight. But what we know is that Hillsborough are massively, and Sheffield Wednesday are massively behind Dalton Smith. And they would love to make it happen.
They want to make it happen as well, don't they? So
we did it at Bramall Lane, so we know they want to do it as well, and this is the only chance. The only chance you guys have in this city right now for filling this stadium and doing big world championship fights is Dalton Smith. And luckily enough for you guys, he's a world-class fighter. You had it with Kell Brook, world-class.
But after me as well, I believe, Janine Boston and the young lads. You can have Rotherham Stadium, can't you?
Yeah.
But obviously,
right now, that's the years.
Right now, yeah.
There's talent coming through, but over the next year, 18 months, this is the only chance this city has to capture world titles in massive nights in the arena in Hillsborough. And luckily, he's good enough. It's not just some bloke that we're going, he's got a nice following, we'll try and get him a world title shot. If he doesn't win a world title, I'll be devastated. That's how good he is.
How exciting is he, and what's the kind of timescale, Eddie, on a potential world title fight, ideally?
It's all about timing, it's all about who it is, who's the opposition. Really, I think European title next sounds nice, then you've got so many of those fringe guys that we've got as well. Maybe it could be one of them next. You never know, could be next summer, could be 18 months. It's when the opportunity arises, who's the champion, who we can bring to the UK. But now we start to navigate through the governing bodies to position ourselves. This is something that takes 6 months or a year to make sure that we're in position to take those chances.
Dalton, how was the trip to America with Manny Robles? How did that? It seemed to help your performance tonight, definitely.
Do you know what? It's accumulation, everything. It's hard work. That's all that matters. It's all the hard work I put in with my dad in the gym. And it was great to get some work in with Manny and learn some new stuff. And of course, no fight is a finished product. You've got to go out there and pick up new things, learn new things to reach them next levels. If not, you're going to stay, the mediocre level. And I want to become the best fighter possible, and that's why I put myself out there. I want to go and learn. Like my dad. My dad's one of the best coaches in the world, but he knows himself. Like, as we're going through the levels and the fighters are coming, he's improving all the time. And like you said, my dad rates Manny as a coach, and it was just good to get some work in. And then finish. I got 2 weeks with Manny, and then what did we have? That 8 weeks. We had 8 weeks, so we had a solid camp. I needed it, and I needed a big performance tonight.
How important was it to be back in Sheffield? I think this is your third fight in Sheffield, or am I wrong there?
Second fight.
Second fight. Oh,
Second
so
fight,
less
yeah,
than I thought.
yeah.
So what was that like for you?
Yeah, do you know what? It's no better feeling. My hometown, my home crowd. I get to stay at home. And I feel like I own this city now.
Yeah.
I've got that torch. I've got to keep carrying that. And like you said, of course, there's pressure on my shoulders, but I've proven I'm dealing with it. And I know when pressure's put on my shoulders, it brings the best out of me. Because when you're waking up in the morning and you're like, oh, but am I good enough? It's like, no, we're going to get out of bed and we're going to work hard and prove everyone that we're good enough.
Eddie, go on, mate. After you.
Dalton, when I spoke to Eddie, I said it was similar to sort of Cordina, Agawa. You get that sort of big knockout win, the showreel knockout, and then everything can start flowing. Do you feel like this is a real momentum shifter for you?
Definitely. This was a fight. What gave me that fear factor? It got me up for camp. My last performance didn't do that. But I always take the positives. The main thing I needed in my fights was the championship rounds. I never really got them, apart from my last 2 fights. So, I see them as a blessing in disguise, and it's going to put me in good stead.
Still victorious in your last 2 fights, but because they're probably not the performances
because
you
I haven't got the highlight knockout reels. But like Eddie's saying, boxing's an entertainment business. No, people don't like. Of course, it don't matter how you win, as long as you get the win. But if I want to be selling out Hillsborough, I've got to build my profile, and these are the knockouts what build that.
Did you feel the pressure tonight?
Of course there's pressure. Like any fight, there's pressure. But it's just about staying calm, and especially with the cuts. I know a lot of fighters they panic, but as soon as I seen the blood, it was like, what? This is where it's business. This is where you've got to show what you're made of. And to be honest, as soon as I was cut, it relaxed me even more, even though I couldn't see. It relaxed me for some weird reason.
Eddie, how realistic and how soon is the world title? I know you've said British, Commonwealth, European,
it's not in the plans just yet, but it's a natural route to take because that's where he's going to go. But he took his time at domestic level, but we did it for a reason, for the Lonsdale belt. Not many people win that belt outright, and it's a really nice thing to have. So we might have stayed there one fight too long, but the Sam Maxwell fight was the right fight now. So now we move on European titles, I think, or one of those world level guys around the top 15. And we start manoeuvring through the governing bodies and position ourselves in the top 10, top 5, and then we start moving towards mandatory positions. Hopefully we've still got some champions there where we can bring to the UK as well.
Of course, I'm not sure, Eddie. I broke the record to do it with the new rules, to win it outright.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
Don't worry about it if you are.
but of course, like I want to achieve bigger things than that. But I just wanted that British title. To look back on in my career, and like you say, it's one of the most beautiful belts in boxing, and I can say I've got that now.
Last one, guys, because we're running out.
Obviously, another big show on Sky Sports tonight. How do you make sure that boxers like Dalton Smith, who've had a brilliant knockout tonight, don't get overlooked and people flipping between channels?
I think, going the same night is never great, but what we are is a global platform. If you look at the global eyes on that show tonight, it dwarfs any other show that's going tonight also. It will be a smaller audience in the UK, but Dalton's boxed on Sky Sports his whole career, and quite recently as well. So I think he's in a good position. There's a lot of eyeballs on him in America as well. But quite honestly, a lot of the views and the numbers come post-fight these days, especially off the back of knockouts like that. So however many watch live on DAZN or on Sky, 50 times or more will watch that knockout tomorrow via various different platforms. So it's all down to the performance, and to make sure that obviously we use our promotional tool to push him as hard as we can. All right, guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.